Now, the Russian president's interview with the country's media, where he touched, among other things, on police reform. Right after the interview, Dmitry Medvedev signed a decree to cut the police force by 20% over the next 2 years. Well, for more on this, I'm now joined in the studio by Olga Kremenchuk from the Russian Public Opinion Research Center. Thank you very much for joining us, Ms. Kremenchuk. So why did Dmitry Medvedev advocate such a drastic cut in the country's police force?
Well, Dmitry Medvedev took into account, as he said in his speech, in his address, the opinion of the population. We have ran a series of surveys asking people about the problems, the recent problems with the police enforcement officers, and not only police enforcement, there's also road police and other departments, other types of law enforcement officers. And majority of population point out such problems as bureaucratization among these people and corruption. Those are two big problems which people point out. And this step is, I think, within the course of trying to debureaucratize the personnel and the level, the organization, the way it's being carried out now among the police. Also the rotation, it wasn't only the debureaucratization, it was also the rotation principle that President Medvedev proposed. It was also, I think, done with the bearing in mind the problem of corruption, which is quite spread, unfortunately, among the police representatives.
So clearly the police force here in Russia does suffer a massive image problem. But how will simply cutting numbers help that issue?
Well, first of all, take into consideration the public opinion and whatever people in the streets say. As to our findings, a majority of population say that one of the ways to tackle the problem with the police nowadays is not to increase the amount of policemen, but actually to shorten it down, to decrease it, but rather to work on the quality of the preparation of the personnel. There is, according to the public opinion, there is a large amount of people which are working in the police currently, but not quite up to the position they are holding, bearing in mind the psychological state of the policemen, but also the preparation and the knowledge that they are bearing. So pretty much clearing off this group of people, this profession, would be a good idea from the position of the public opinion. And from that point of view, the president was trying to go in line with that.
Well, if the problems suffered by the police force are as extreme as you would suggest, problems of bureaucracy, of corruption, was any mention made of an attempt to train the police force in a better way? Surely that would be a solution.
Well, I think whatever President today said was only the first step, the announcement of the reform which is needed to be done there. And as the President mentioned, there is a realization already, understanding already that such reform is needed to be done. First of all, you take away the bad sprouts, so to say, the representatives which are actually spoiling that image, but then you retrain the ones which are there. What public opinion, what people think is not needed to be done is to increase the salaries. Although quite often, the specialists and experts point out that actually one of the problems, in terms of corruption, is that the salaries and the income that these people are receiving is very small. So of course, this is only the first step.
All right, thank you very much. So the first step on a very long road of reform taken today. Olga Kremenchuk from the Russian Public Opinion Research Center. Thank you very much for coming in and talking.